I'm Joe Alonzo, the head stonemason, and this August 23rd will mark the 3rd anniversary of the quake. And we are here up on the cathedral, and we want to show you some of the areas of damage and update you on what is happening in terms of the repairs. In the quake, vast areas of the cathedral were damaged. Areas of the central tower, pinnacles, all of the beautiful hand-carved elements, generations of masons and carvers who spent their lives working on this building. Their work was damaged quite significantly, and it's really sad to see that when I think of what it took to do all this work and the craftsmanship and artistry that went into it.
We mobilized a whole crew of consultants to assess the inside of the cathedral and really get an understanding of what all the damage was. Simultaneously, we were also hiring a consultant to scan three-dimensionally the outside of the building to translate into, for the first time ever, very highly accurate electronic drawings that we could use to plan the earthquake repairs. Subsequent to that, the consultants have detailed all of the repairs, and we've mobilized what we're calling our Phase 1 earthquake repairs, which will address the repairs to the high ceiling on the interior to get the netting down, and we'll also address the repairs to the 6 flying buttresses, the oldest parts of the cathedral on the east end.
Last year, we had one scaffold built around one of these flying buttresses, and Andy, Sean, and I spent last summer carrying out a series of repairs to the one buttress, sort of prototype, mock-up type of repairs, trying to figure out the best means and method of repairing these buttresses. Since then, we now have our contractor in place, and additional scaffolding is being built so that eventually all 6 flying buttresses here on the apse will be scaffolded, and the repairs will be carried out to all 6 of these flying buttresses.
So we're up here against one of the buttresses, the 6 flying buttresses on the east end of the cathedral, which basically when the earthquake hit, the tower bent outwards and then resettled, and in that movement, there's a flyer right behind us that pushed outwards the top level of stone. You can see the voids that were created in the stone that we have to fill so that this is fully in compression again. So on an adjacent buttress, quite a lot of work is already underway. You can see on the flyer where in the previous buttress there were gaps in the stones. That stone has now been filled with mortar. And a lot of the joints between stones have been raked out and are being prepared for repointing. And quite a few of the Dutchmen have already been implemented, the stone repairs where stone pieces have spalled off. As part of our Phase 1 earthquake repairs, we will be addressing stone and masonry repairs and cleaning up at the high ceiling. And in order to do that, we had to put scaffold in place. We really strategized in a way to put scaffold in place so we didn't interfere with the worship space below. So we are actually spanning from clerestory to clerestory. I'm actually currently standing on a clerestory pathway. And what you see in the distance, that big sheet of plastic, is actually a protective sheet so that the dust for the work that they're doing up high at the ceiling doesn't travel further down into the nave. As we progress with this work and the scaffold moves down the nave bay by bay, the protective netting that was put in right after the earthquake will be removed so we can see the wonderful high ceiling yet again in its glory. So we also have scaffolding up at the Great Choir behind me, and in a similar fashion we're spanning from clerestory to clerestory. That actually posed some challenges because we had to be very careful to navigate that scaffolding around our beautiful carved organ case. What we're finding up there, because it is a different period of construction, is significantly more soiling and failing mortar joints up at the high ceiling. And it'll be really wonderful to see, once it's all cleaned and repointed, how much cleaner that high ceiling will be.
Here are some examples of some of the mortar joints that have been opened up. So the failed mortar has been removed from these joints, and it's ready to be repointed with new mortar. As we go around, we can also see some staining. So this will be cleaned. And as we get into the stained glass window, some of the old glazing putty that's failed around the glass will be removed and replaced. There's old caulking here that needs to be removed and replaced. And the glass will also be cleaned. And here is a very dramatic example of how much cleaning has been done and how dirty this ceiling was. You can see the dark area here that hasn't yet been cleaned. As a matter of fact, I can probably do this and just show you the dirt that's been here, but you can just see the difference from the cleaned to the not cleaned stone.
The stabilization post-earthquake and the interior repairs we're doing at the high ceiling, as well as the work that we're doing on the east end that we previously described, adds up to about $10 million. And we need another 16 million or more to finish the outside work, which we consider phase 2.
I am now standing in front of the southwest pinnacle of the south transept. And this is a good example of one of the stabilization efforts that we did immediately after the earthquake.
The scaffold you see on the northwest tower of the west front is also a stabilization scaffold similar to what's on the central tower. We also have over 38 engaged buttresses with their associated pinnacles that have various twists, cracks, and spalls that will need to be repaired in the phase 2 work. In order to implement that work, we'll either have to have a crane on the ground that will help us to lift those pinnacles off to be able to do the adequate repairs that are needed, or we'll have to have a crane on our central tower, tower top crane that will allow us to do that similar work of lifting those stones to do those repairs. Only with your support can we restore your cathedral to its intended majesty so it can continue to host our nation for spiritual exploration, celebrations, and reflection. Please join Joe and me in support of restoring the cathedral by giving today.